This is your City Council Roundup, a recap of what's happening at City Hall with John Ongaro. The views expressed in this program are solely of those of the host and not necessarily those of the radio station or its partners.
Well, away we go. Council meeting last night started just on time, a little after 6:30. Only the mayor was absent, so let's break it all down. First up, city administration recommended the approval for a sign variance application on behalf of the new Hyatt House Hotel. The new hotel being built on Oliver Road is nearing completion in a business zone. It requires a variance from the city's bylaw to install a 46.64 square meters wall signs to meet the Hyatt branding standards, significantly exceeding the bylaws in our city of 23.2 square meters for a commercial building. Administration supported the variance, saying that the general intent of the bylaw concerning aesthetics in a business zone would be maintained by the hotel. It notes that the application is time sensitive due to the hotel's completion and the prefabrication of the signs according to the brand requirements. It was an easy one. That hotel gets their new sign as they needed. Next up, the Thunder Bay Public Library was back at council after a few failed attempts to expand, to centralize to the mall, and to spend more money only a few weeks ago. They're back again to ask for council support in renewing their lease at County Fair Mall and expanding their space there at an as-needed basis. That required a few minutes in an in-camera session to decide whether or not they can afford the new changes and the new expansions. That they will. They've moved forward on that. And at the city council portion of the meeting last night, a notice of motion came forward to re-debate the city's parking strategy. It'll come back to council on Monday night for discussion. Watch for that motion to making parking free for 2 hours everywhere. Less than a year after they fought to make paid parking at the marina, where they now want to make it free for you for 4 hours. The roller coaster ride continues again on June 2nd about parking. And Danny, I think that's about it.
Well, no. Are we kicking a soccer ball around? Is there something happening?
Sorry,
there?
That's right. There was also
I think this
that.
is the big one.
So let me give you the official breakdown. The city moved forward last night with its planned indoor turf facility project, awarding the design build contract to Finway General Contractors for $36,056,040, including taxes and contingencies. The decision, based on the recommendation from Infrastructure and Operations Engineering Department, follows a competitive RFP process where 3 pre-qualified teams submitted proposals. The Finway team was selected as their submission scored highest in both quality and price, meeting all requirements and coming in below the mandatory bid cap, which was $42.7 million. The proposed facility design, based on Soccer Northwest concept, not really, features a FIFA standard synthetic turf, but a little smaller, that can be divided for various uses, along with spectator seating for 500, change rooms, concessions, and a multi-purpose space. The structure is designed with energy-efficient features. It is considered more environmentally friendly than fabric domes. Notably, the financing strategy for the project has seen a significant positive change. While a previous plan approved in 2023 anticipated a 25-year special debenture of up to $20 million, the recommended special debenture has been substantially reduced to $3.3 million over a shorter term, 10 years. This improved financial position is attributed to the winning bid coming in below budget, much below budget. Interest earned on reserve funds helped, and a $500,000 contribution from CEDC Tourism Development Fund and a recommended transfer of $4.5 million special dividend from T-Baytel to support the construction made it all happen. Further reduction in the debenture is still possible as user groups are undertaking a community fundraising campaign, and administration is pursuing additional corporate sponsorships. Now, councillors, while they went around the room patting each other on the back, were hoping for a unanimous decision on the facility. The $37 million price tag, which includes $430,000 in interest on a $3 million loan. They didn't get the unanimous vote they were hoping for. The final vote was 11-1, with only Councillor Bentz against the project. So you have 11 councillors to thank for spending $37 million, but hey, at least it's not 42, right? That's the story of the night. Now, if I may, some brief, and I do mean brief commentary, because to be honest, this is a broken record for me, and it's finally broken. And now we can all watch and see what happens next. But I won't be giving this file any more attention. I've given it plenty. I'll just be standing by when, not if, when someone comes back to council and asks for more money a year from now, because they will. One after another, counselors patted each other on the back. So early on, we knew where this was going. There were a couple of things that you need to know that made this pass so that you're informed. And the next time you're getting together with friends or family or meeting up in a coffee shop, don't be fooled by the fluff that your council is trying desperately to have you focus on. There are some facts, real facts, that you need to remember now that this is passed. So that you're going into the discussion educated, we're going to give you some of those facts. But first, before we do that, there's always some commentary from counselors that I need to point out. I found it very odd that Councillor Gertuga last night took the time to talk about people in the community sensationalizing the cost of the turf facility. Now, I'm not real sure who he was referring to, but then he gave me a hint to who he might be referring to. But before I play this highlight, remember, this was during the discussion of the turf and its cost. The turf. But somehow, some way, Councillor Gertuga went here.
Okay, well, I'll speak to the resolution. I'm just quickly, or maybe quickly, I'm happy to move this. I think it's been a long time coming. We've talked about this and debated this. We've come in way under budget. This is a new infrastructure. And, just to clarify for comments in the community, there's been some uninformed people who've made uninformed comments and uninformed comparisons. For example, the boating community in the marina stating that the boaters are paying for the renovations there. Well, they are now, but they didn't pay for the initial infrastructure and all the improvements to the marina. So those type of comments sensationalize things and are not appropriate, because if the boaters paid for all the docks and all the marina to start with, then that would be something you could compare apples to apples. But this is a new infrastructure in our community, and potentially, if 20 years down the road, we want to do renovations, we may ask the users to fund that. And that would be an actual comparator to comparator and a smart reasoning comment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So if you were just as confused as I was as to where that comment came from and who he was referring to that was sensationalizing anything, including the price of the marina, I'll give you a little hint. May 6th. Of this year. Next up on the agenda, the marina, Prince Arthur's Landing, and boater services, a topic near and dear to me, as you know, and at the same time, a great model for how to spend money, make money, and get money at no cost to the taxpayer. That's right, boater services, the dock services available to 260 boaters at the marina, is 100% paid for by user fees. The charges to boaters pay for infrastructure and services with no expense to you on your taxes, but to the boaters. Over the next number of years, boaters will pay up to 4% more for their fees and will get a brand new fuel system. And fun fact, this new fuel system is needed and has been needed for years. It's a lot of work, including new underground tanks and new pumps on the fuel dock. The cost now close to $1 million. But before we complain about that, it's a debenture that is completely funded by the boaters and not by taxpayers. That garnered little discussion. It was passed last night. The construction of the updated infrastructure will be coming soon. So now we know who he was talking about.
That sounds like you. Was that you?
Councillor Gertuga, thanks for listening. However, get your facts straight. The marina boaters have paid for all of the docks, and they have for about 40 years. And the price every year has gone up 5% for every user to make sure that we pay for our own docks. At the same time, no, we did not pay for the big changes and renovations to the marina because that's not where we park our boat. We park our boat on a dock that the marina users pay for and have since the beginning. It has absolutely nothing to do with the turf facility, but it was a really good try that fell very, very flat. Now, back to the topic at hand. Some final words on the turf facility that you now own. That's right, you bought it last night. Fact, your councillors were celebrating $17 million in savings that were found for the new building. How ironic, because fact, $17 million is the exact number that Soccer Northwest said the new building would cost. It's not. It's $36 million, $37 with interest. Fact, we're 5 years almost to the day that your city council turned down Chapels Park and did so in the 11th hour. It was too expensive for them at that time. The price at that time, $35 million for a build that city administration last night clearly admitted had far more amenities, a bigger field, and much more significant design. Another fact, half of the councillors around the table then are the same ones around the table last night. Fact, the cost of the new building does not include the new roadways and changes to the roads around the auditorium that wouldn't need to be done if the facility wasn't going there. Another fact, it also doesn't take into account the money that will be needed to build the replacement ballpark that is being bulldozed for the new building. The costs and the big price tags that come with that are not part of the price approved last night. Finally, one last fact. Soccer Northwest, the same group that sold your council a $17 million facility, can do the happy dance and they can do all they'd like because their handwritten sketch isn't even being considered at this point. The one that your council approved, that $17 million sketch turned into $37 million last night. It's lovely. The video last night was very slick. And in fact, it was kind of impressive that they made this barn look like a real nice facility. Another fact, I've never had a problem with the concept. I've only ever had a problem with the price because I bought the $17 million pitch from Soccer Northwest just like you did. I also bought the pitch from Soccer Northwest that they were going to raise $1 million for the facility, only to see that they hadn't started yet and then had their hand out to accept money from the city, from the CEDC, to the tune of $500,000 towards their fundraising goal of $1 million. Pretty neat that they got the donation from the city before even starting their fundraising campaign, isn't it? But don't worry, we'll be paying close attention to where the fundraising of the other $500,000 comes from, if it does. I can go on and on, but at this point, it doesn't matter. You're spending the money, you're getting a turf, and anyone who cares can absolutely celebrate the win. The rest of us will sit back and wait for the next bag of money to show up when costs break down, when things are needed, when we forgot about a couple of things. And we're also going to have to talk about at budget time next year, the $1 million a year it is going to cost to operate the facility. But I will leave it at this, and I promise we'll leave it at this now. Something for you to think about. Your council wrote a check last night for $37 million for a building in a vote of 11-1. This is the same council who fought and argued and complained only a few weeks ago about $1.5 million to house the homeless and help those in need. Think about that for a second. $37 million for some people to play indoors on a fancy turf was easy, but helping those in need was really, really hard for them. That, in my opinion, speaks to one very important thing: their character. Something to think about at your next gathering of friends and family, the ones that are hopefully okay and taken care of and have a roof over their head.
Thank you, John. That's the City Council Roundup this morning. I do have a question if we can go back.
Sure.
Vote was 11-1. It was Councillor Bentz who opposed this. Mm-hmm. The mayor was not there?
No, he was missing last night.
Okay. So
other commitments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's fair. And I don't want to kind of go down that road. But on a vote as important as this, do councillors not have an opportunity to vote ahead of time? Does that sound like something?
No, absolutely.
Because on a vote as important as this, the mayor is not there?
Could be anything. I have no idea why, but he was the only one missing. But they all did a very good job of patting each other on the back last night, and they absolutely can celebrate the win. They are calling it a legacy and transitional for our community. Well, it's approved now after years and years and years of debate. Mm-hmm. And I think Councillor Chung said last night there's been over 50 votes on this.
Wow.
So, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So now it's approved. And all of you soccer fans can absolutely celebrate the win. Mm-hmm. God love you. Enjoy your new turf. However, we're going to be watching very closely what happens next.
One more thing.
Sure.
Does this set a precedent for other organizations to
Absolutely,
come to council and say, hey, listen, I run an organization. I would like you guys to put up a building X amount of square feet to support us. Thank you.
And here's how it'll look. And here's some handwritten numbers. And it's going to cost X amount of dollars, and go ahead and build it. And then it turns into 37. Mm-hmm. It absolutely is a precedent, because now anybody can go there and say, well, you did it for them. Hockey community can now show up and say, we need a new arena. Can you build us a double pad somewhere, perhaps at Port Arthur Stadium, which is next on the big ticket item spend? Absolutely, it could happen. The door is wide open now. But again, I'll say this. It's approved.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens next.
All right. There you have it. City Council Roundup for this Tuesday. Couple ways you can get a recap. Go to our website, 999thebay.ca. You'll find that there. Also, you can text the word council to our T-Bay Tall Talk text line, 807-344-8229. And you will get a direct link there. Thanks, John.
Next meeting Monday night.
All right.